The views and opinions on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of ESPN Tucson 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, or the Arizona Lotus Corporation.
Welcome to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson.
Justin Spears, I like that.
With Justin Spears and Ali Farhang on 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, ESPN Tucson. Brought to you by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I want to be entertaining, but I'm not stupid enough to compare myself to Ali.
Happy Hump Day. Welcome to Spears and Ali here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4. We're streaming live on ESPNTucson.com and the ESPN Tucson mobile app. Check us out on Apple, Spotify. Subscribe, rate, comment, leave us some kind words, and also find us on Spears and Ali YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today. And also a huge thank you to our great sponsors, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Tucson Federal Credit Union.
And I warn you, if you leave any unkind words, Justin Spears will go into investigative reporter mode. He will find out every single thing you've done wrong in your life and then find a way to disclose that to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because he's petty.
Yep. I am very petty.
Yeah. Very petty.
And I find your IP addresses and I know where you live.
Yeah.
So keep the words kind.
And it's either you're not a human being or the answer is always the same. Your mother's basement.
Yep.
Right.
Welcome to Spears and Ali, guys. Appreciate you guys for listening to us live from 7 to 9 a.m. Like I said, you can find the podcast version on Apple and Spotify. And for this Hump Day episode, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk some Arizona baseball with our guy Chip Hale coming up at 7:25. The Arizona Wildcats, as we all know, getting ready for the Super Regional out there in Chapel Hill, where they'll play the North Carolina Tar Heels. First time Arizona's in the Super Regional under Chip Hale, and maybe they can get to the College World Series for the first time under Chipper.
Yeah, really excited, man. And it's, grab your breakfast burrito from Filberto's because you can listen to Spears and Ali from 7 to 9 and then right away turn to the game because it's at 9 a.m. Tucson time Friday.
How about that?
Yeah, on ESPN 2?
I think it's on ESPN 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to be talking some...
God forbid you don't play one of those stupid morning shows on ESPN. Right. Well, all I need more, comparison, this or that content in sports.
LeBron or Jordan.
You like this or you like that? So, I'm sure we'll get a lot of the next 48, 72 hours is all going to be about, even though Oklahoma City is playing Indiana, the final starting tomorrow. Mm-hmm. They'll lead with who's going to be the head coach of the New York Knicks.
Yep.
It's predictable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to be talking about the Knicks. They're going to be talking about the big markets. OKC and Indiana are just kind of left out.
It's going to be.
But from a basketball watching standpoint, very excited for these NBA finals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting the consensus seems to be, the Thunder in 5, and everybody's hoping Indiana can maybe steal one game on the road in the first 2 games and make it at least a 6-game series. So who knows?
Give me 6 or 7. That's all I ask for. Andrew, how many games this Stanley Cup final going to go between the Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers?
I'm hoping for Oilers in 6. I think it'll at least go 6 either way, honestly.
What's the big storyline with this Stanley Cup final?
Well, wouldn't you like to know? No.
I'm asking our in-house hockey expert.
The storyline seems to be, can Florida obviously go back-to-back? And I would hate that because that would be the second Florida team in the last 8 years, 6 years even, to go back-to-back with the Cup. Might be 7. And then on the Oilers side, Canada hasn't won a Cup. A Canadian team hasn't won a Cup in over 30 years. And I believe the last team was the Oilers.
It was 93 Canadians.
Canadians. Yeah, no, you're right.
I literally just looked it up at the last second.
Yeah. Wow.
Don't give me enough credit.
Yeah. Don't ever disclose something like that. Just flex, baby.
And but I heard a weird stat this morning actually was that every team that has lost their first 2 games of the postseason in the NHL and then made a cup run, like a final berth, won the cup. It's only happened 8 times. This is the 8th time it's happened.
Okay.
And every one of the previous 7 to do so has seen it through.
Okay.
So Here's hoping.
All right.
I don't know why, but I find it extremely distasteful that any team in Florida is good at hockey. Like,
Right.
if Florida team is in hockey, I root against. So I'll be rooting for Edmonton. Let me ask you this. Are hockey pundits like, I guess, NBA pundits? Because I could just imagine on, Stephen A. Smith this morning just talking about if Connor McDavid wants to solidify his legacy, he must win the Stanley Cup. Otherwise, he will not be viewed as one of the premier hockey players of all time.
No, they're debating Wayne Gretzky versus Sidney Crosby right now.
Yeah.
No, genuinely, I think and maybe it's biased for the fact that I, take it in, but it always seems like in hockey, where in the NBA, it's like, oh, if he doesn't do this, he won't be the greatest.
Right.
In hockey, in the NHL, it's like, oh, if he does do this, then he'll be one of the greatest. It's always, you see what I mean? It's always like
more positive Canadian way.
I guess.
Yeah.
In the NBA, it's always like, oh, what if he doesn't? And in the NHL, it always seems to be, what if he does?
Is that a storyline though? Connor McDavid. This is for his, his legacy.
I mean, he has basically every other piece of hardware you can get as a skater. So,
and he's 28 years old.
Yeah, he's been chasing this. I mean, he was captain of the Edmonton Oilers at 18. This is his 9th or 10th season.
He doesn't have an Olympic gold medal from the men and women's figure skating championship.
I guess not.
Yeah, so not every piece of hardware from a skating perspective.
Yeah, but everything else, pretty much every other accolade,
I've never seen him roller skating at skate country going backwards.
And they only lost it by a goal last year in 7 games, and they actually outscored the Panthers last year 23-18. So it just didn't fall where they needed it to.
All right, well, go Oilers.
I'm right there with you about the Florida teams being really good at hockey, because I'm like, come on, what? Florida of all places. I mean, it's cool to see Vegas. You have some success in hockey, win the Stanley Cup last year, right? Or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh, you're wearing the shirt. Yeah, I guess I should read.
Yeah. I just don't like Florida teams in general.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I don't want Orlando to do anything.
The Magic?
Nah.
What? What did the Magic do to you?
They're just
You're telling me you're not a Tampa Bay Rays fan?
Nah, no Tampa Bay, no Miami Marlins, no, no Dolphins, no
like
Buccaneers. Buccaneers I don't really count as part of Florida because it's kind of like the more normal city in Florida, from what I have witnessed. But there's something about Florida teams. Yeah, Tampa Bay's cool city.
Right there in that panhandle.
A lot of pirates, vampires,
and then you don't have to worry about Jacksonville ever. So.
Yeah. No, that not at all.
But yeah, I'm excited to see if your Edmonton Oilers, your adopted team, Andrew. I know this is
it's my wife's team.
Well, you're adopting them right now.
Yeah,
you're rooting for the Oilers. So for the Trujillo household's sake, I'll be rooting for the Edmonton Oilers. But I'll make sure I won't bet them
on it.
I'll make sure I won't put any bets on the Edmonton Oilers.
That's just good advice. Don't ever bet playoff hockey because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, and also I don't understand how do you do a three leg parlay in hockey? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it
seems like the hardest bet in sports.
Oh yeah, those odds should be way longer.
It's like the
way longer.
It's like the roulette of gambling, sports gambling. It's
really
like it's just the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Still fun.
Mm-hmm.
Still fun. Now, if you choose the same number as I do, it's a little bit, you have a little better chance.
A little bit less dumb.
Yeah, it's a little less dumb.
All right. In Arizona Wildcats related news, man, Arizona softball, very interesting spot they're in right now because, head coach Caitlin Lowe, I think she's the right person for this job. I mean, she just took Arizona 48-13 on the season, even though they had a disappointing end to the season, losing in that regional to Ole Miss. Still a pretty successful season for the Arizona Wildcats. But, man, the offseason, we thought initially, okay, they're just losing pitchers, right? Devin Netz and everyone, they graduated. They lost a few to the transfer portal. And, Aisa Silva, big-time pitcher, kind of disappointed in that. But the other players that enter the portal were kind of like fringe players that, could start or could be reserve players, but the nucleus was still intact. Now that's starting to take a hit a little bit because according to D1softball.com, the Gold Glove Award winner in Dakota Kennedy and also star outfielder Kaya Altmaier, they have both entered the transfer portal in the last couple of days. So, yeah, that's a tough loss for Arizona. And I think right now they have lost, I believe, 14 out of their 22 players from last year. So if they have a couple other players enter the transfer portal, players like Jenna Sniffen, Sydney Stewart, Reagan Shockey, if those players enter the portal, we're talking about the Wildcats pretty much starting from level 0. And on top of that, you've got Caitlin Lowe going into her final season under contract. So this is a really, really tough spot for Arizona softball right now. I'm hopeful they can, figure out ways to keep Jenna Sniffen and keep some of these other players around, and Caitlin Lowe is able to secure her contract for, the seasons beyond just next season. But yeah, this is a really interesting situation. And, everyone has their own reasons as to why they enter the transfer portal, whether it's playing time, they just want a change of scenery. Sometimes it's all financial based, right? Like you look at, Texas Tech, look at what they're doing. That ROI, return on investment, for Nigeri Kennedy looks pretty damn good right now because she is carrying them to the Women's College World Series. They just beat Oklahoma. They had a very impressive performance last night, and she got $1 million to leave Cal and go play at Texas Tech. Maybe for some of these players, like a Dakota Kennedy, who's one of the top outfielders in all of college softball, maybe this is her way of saying, okay, let me test the market, and maybe there's a program like a Texas Tech or somewhere else in the world or in the country that's going to give me more money than Arizona could offer me right now. So obviously everyone has their own reason as to why they leave a program, why they enter the transfer portal. I wouldn't push the panic button just yet with the Arizona Wildcats, but man, you're one of the premier programs on the West Coast, and losing players like Dakota Kennedy and Kaya Altmaier, not a good look.
You said it pretty astutely, Justin. It's 3 reasons. Number 1, it's money, right? They're going out there to see how much money they can get. And, when you play college softball, it's not like there's an NFL for softball afterwards or the NBA. So
one's developing.
Yeah, it's getting there. Athletes Unlimited.
It's not even close to there.
No,
not even close. You're not making life-changing money. You're not going to make $1 million playing in professional softball.
Yeah.
Okay. Not for 1 year, at least. So it's either the money, number 1. Number 2, it's players didn't like the culture of the team and wanted to change of scenery. Or it's number 3, they don't like the instability of a coach going into their last year. And maybe number 1 and number 3, the money and the support softball is getting or not getting, and the contract situation, maybe they're somewhat related, but I haven't heard anything from the athletic department. No voice of support or anything. Have you?
No.
I don't know if anybody's asked for one, but I will tell you this: heavy wears. What is it? Heavy is the crown. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
So thank you. Look, you're in a position when you're leading an athletic department that sometimes you got to make a decision that you're going to be judged for, and you can't shy away from that. Either make the decision one way or another, and either you support Caitlin Lowe, and we're working on a contract extension, and we want to keep Caitlin Lowe as the coach of Arizona softball for a very long time, or from what I've witnessed, I don't like where this program's going, and with a year left on our contract, we've decided to move in a new direction. No matter which one you choose, you're going to be criticized, and you could be right or you could be wrong, but you put yourself in that position. Doing nothing is not the right choice. And right now it looks like we're doing nothing. Now, I don't know, maybe behind the scenes they're working on a contract, or maybe, they're separate. I don't know. You don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sit here and, make judgments based on information I don't know, but there's got to be some sort of statement, some sort of either we support Caitlin, we really love the direction she's taken this team, and we're working on a long-term extension, or we've decided to move in another direction. You got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Because no choice is the wrong choice. And that's what really right now is a little disappointing to me.
Absolutely. And like you said, the silence from the athletic department is pretty interesting, because at this point you'd feel no coach really goes into the last season of their contract without something in place. And the fact that we're in June, I mean, the season ended for Arizona a couple weeks ago, and with the transfer portal opened, you have to be proactive to stop the bleeding, because now, like you said, players are like, well, my coach doesn't have her contract in place. I don't know if I have, I don't know if I should be here at Arizona. And like, look at players like Jenna Sniffen. She's a freshman right now. I wonder what she's thinking about, because she's a great player. You know, she has a chance to be an all-time player at the University of Arizona. But, you know, if she plays next season and her coach doesn't have a contract in place, you can almost guarantee that Jenna Sniffen's going to be on her way out.
Yeah, I mean, right up there with what are my financial incentives to be here? Which I don't blame anybody for asking that, especially someone who plays doesn't play it plays any college sport right now. That's a fair question to ask.
Yeah.
And if we're judging kids for doing that, well, if you've never gone to your boss for a raise, then then you're dumb, right? Especially if you've been performing well. So it's either number one. So the financial considerations is maybe question one. Question two is, how do I know if I stay here and commit to this program, you're going to be my coach next year or even beyond next year?
Yeah.
What's the stability of the program? So those are the top two questions I would think for any young woman that is either a part of U of A softball or is being recruited in a transfer portal by U of A softball. Those would be, as a father of a daughter, that would be my first two questions of the coach. And I would actually lead with, how do I know you're going to be the coach next year? How do I know you're going to be the coach 2 years from now?
Yep.
You can never college sports have a professional model now. You cannot have a coach in the last year of their contract. It doesn't work. A decision needs to be made one way or another.
All right. Later on in the hour.
And I support her too. I think Caitlin Lowe is a great coach.
She's amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. Later on in the hour, I do want to talk to Ali about Carter Bryant keeping his name in the NBA draft pool, Jaden Bradley deciding to come back. And then we're going to also talk more about the newest addition overseas, Ivan Karchenkov, who's Russian. He's got some German experience too, playing over there for Bayern Munich.
Well, he's Russian born, but he's a Russian,
yeah.
But he basically was raised in Germany, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got Russian roots, but he is a German, and 6'7", long, can score, and he's got some pretty damn good experience. I mean, just 17 years old, but heck, being teammates with guys like Carson Edwards and was it Jack White as well?
Yeah.
And
Shabazz Napier.
And yeah, Shabazz Napier.
Yeah.
And Devin Booker. Devin Booker was his teammate over there.
What?
No, the Devin Booker from Clemson
who
played.
I'm like, how's that possible? I'm like,
yeah, our guy Kevin Thomas from PHNX, he was the one who pointed it out. I was like, wait, Devin Booker, and then it was the guy who played. I think he played against Arizona back in the day when like Jordan Hill and Chase Budinger were playing here. I think they had a game against Clemson, and I think Jordan Hill and Devin Booker might actually be cousins. But yeah, they got a Devin Booker playing for Bayern Munich, but not that Devin Booker.
Yeah,
so it's another one.
Look,
but he's got some good experience.
I always love watching the social media crowd panic, and it's always the same. You know, a player leaves or a recruit decides to go somewhere else, and it's, what is Tommy Lloyd doing? There's no plan, and every single time Tommy Lloyd teaches you there's a plan. So
he grabs him by the lips. Tells him to shut up. We got a plan.
Well, I mean, do you think it was a coincidence? The day that Carter Bryant made official he's staying in the NBA draft, Arizona basketball was like, by the way, we already had this in place. We have a good guy coming in that's got a lot of, been given a lot of plaudits as far as his game and what he could do. And, is he going to be as good as Carter Bryant? I don't know, but it's another solid piece to this team. And once this team gets together in July, starts working out together, they're going to start building their own chemistry.
We're going to take a look more at the Arizona basketball roster later on this hour. In the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to Zach Pueblo, Arizona junior men's golfer, who just qualified for the U.S. Open. He is the first Arizona golfer under head coach Jim Anderson to qualify for the U.S. Open. So Zach Pueblo making history. It's hard to qualify for the U.S. Open. I think they had a record 10,202 golfers for the local qualifying tournaments.
Wow.
And then it went to 744, and then only 10 amateurs have qualified for the U.S. Open. So Zach Polo, man, 1%er. If you want to talk about like the numbers and the golfers, the guys who are trying to get into the U.S. Open, it's really hard to do that.
It's like 0.01%.
Yeah, it's crazy,
That's
man.
nuts.
Yeah.
I'm already looking forward to, kind of falling asleep, then watching the final 9 holes at the U.S. Open on Father's Day. It's like an awesome day. It's an awesome day.
Top 3 nap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Zach Polo, the best nap of all time will always be the Masters. Masters on a Saturday afternoon is the best.
No, the best nap ever is after Saturday football practice at South Point. Me, Coach Benet, and a guy named Al Alexander, our guy from Saguaro High School, he's the head coach.
All nap together?
No,
that's crazy.
We would
Tommy Lloyd shower.
We would break down film, and then we would try to come up with the plan for next week. And then we'd all go to a little Mexican restaurant around the way. We'd have tacos and a couple beers, go home, and each one of us took the best nap of the week right after that.
That sounds like a good nap.
Yeah.
No,
that's up there.
I've never, since I stopped coaching, I've never slept that well in my life.
So, yeah, we're going to talk to Zach Polo at 8:25, and then Andrew Dunn. He is the Pecos League commissioner and also owner of the Tucson Saguaros. The Tucson Saguaros have their home opener tomorrow at Keno Stadium. So, yeah, got some great guests lined up. And one of our great guests is joining us next. His name is Chip Hale, head coach of the Arizona baseball team. And we're going to talk about Arizona getting ready for the Super Regionals against North Carolina. Stay tuned. Arizona baseball heading to the Super Regionals. They'll face the North Carolina Tar Heels. And Arizona's in the Super Regionals for the first time under head coach Chip Hale, who joins us here on ESPN Tucson. Chip, always a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for joining us. And more importantly, congratulations on getting to the Super Regionals, my friend.
Well, thank you guys so much, and thank you for having me. Yeah, we're super excited, and we're actually going to practice here at 8 a.m., try to get on East Coast time, and fly out of here at about 11.
Heck yeah, man.
Actually, I was going to ask you that, Chip. How important is it to practice in the kind of the time frame and in the conditions that you're going to be playing in on Friday?
Yeah, I think it's important, super important. We did it. We stayed in Dallas after the Houston series before the Big 12 tournament and practiced early. We knew we had the 9 a.m. game, so we tried to practice in the morning and get our lifts in early. Acclimate yourself to the time. It's going to be a little more difficult this time because obviously we're getting there 2 days before, and it's a noon game Eastern, which will be a 9 for us. We've been in Eugene, so it's been on the West Coast time for a while.
Talking with Arizona baseball coach Chip Hale leading into Arizona's Super Regional round against the North Carolina Tar Heels. And, man, you guys have been very dominant in the postseason. You outscored your opponents 31-6 in the regional up there in Eugene. And I believe you guys have outscored your opponents in the postseason 49-9. So the bats are hot. The pitching has been great. What do you make of this latest stretch by your team?
Yeah, and then you're going to say we're getting hot at the right time, and that's super important for a baseball team, whether it's a high school or college or a major league team, that's when you have to get the hottest is when you're playing the best competition. So I think one thing that'll be interesting this weekend is, there's a lot of, if you look at the prognosticators and what's being written is this is maybe as good a team in the country as in North Carolina is, and they're very veteran. They play the game very well, and they do things the way you're supposed to do them. So, to get to Omaha is great, and we want to win a national championship. And if we can get through these guys in a 2 out of 3 game series, I think it sets us up well, to get to have that opportunity to win it.
Now, of course, job's not finished, Chip. Of course, you want to get to that College World Series and win a national championship. But do you feel like a sense of relief knowing that you got to that Super Regional, knowing that, your team over the last couple of years has struggled in the regional round?
Yeah, I obviously that was important for us to play better in the regionals, whether we won or lost. I mean, we had not played well for a couple of years. I thought we were fine in Miami our first year, but the last 2 were really poor. So I was glad we competed better and we won, but there's no relief yet. And maybe that'll be a feeling that comes after it's all done.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this group just, even when we won it the other night, they were excited, they were happy to move on, but they just didn't seem like they were done. And you get a sense of that with any team you're coaching, of guys maybe getting too fat and happy with just winning the conference championship, for example, like last year. So we'll see when it's all done, but yeah, I'm just fired up to get going. And there's really no time to feel relief, to be honest, guys.
Yeah.
We're going from one place to another. We're trying to make plans. We're trying to scout. So we'll see. We'll talk about that maybe when it's all done.
Hey, Chip, as a guy that, loves Tucson, I was hoping, like a lot of others, things would line up and the Super Regional would be here at High Corbett. But as a fan of you and the team, I was actually kind of glad that we're going on the road to North Carolina, because it seems like this team has developed a us against the world mentality. Am I crazy, or is there something there?
No, you're right. You're correct. The funny thing is I was, obviously we were in Eugene, and Corvallis is 30 minutes away, and they kept in the news talking about how they were breaking records of attendance there, and they packed that place at Corvallis. It's so small, and they're on top of you, and they're like, yeah, we broke the record with 4,400 people, and I'm like, well, we had 9,000 people here at the regional last year. So that was the only disappointing thing, is we have such a great baseball community here, and they've supported us so well. I was hoping that, yeah, just like you, that we could have maybe hosted Oklahoma here. But yeah, I think as this team goes, we have played really well on the road. And yeah, that little chip on our shoulder and us against the world has worked very well for them.
The North Carolina Tar Heels, they have a pitcher by the name of Jake Knapp, who is built like a right tackle. He's 6'5", 270 pounds. He's a big body, and he's 13-0 this year, has a 1.98 ERA. Pretty damn good pitcher. What's the scouting report on this guy?
Yeah, very good. He really comes at you with 3 pitches. He's going to pound the zone. And yeah, when you look at him on video, it's one of those guys that guys just don't hit him. I think we as a group are kind of excited to face their whole staff, not just Knapp, but all of them, because they're not afraid to come at you. We've been facing a bunch of guys along the way that have kind of been a little bit more of a trick pitcher, where they have like the guy from Cal Poly had a 74-mile-an-hour changeup, which is very difficult for our guys. And I think if we know they're going to come hard at us, it's an advantage for us as hitters. I think that's what our guys feast on. But it's interesting because no one's hit them. So maybe we're going to be the team that breaks the streak.
Well, 6'5", 270, Chip. I'm thinking, maybe the first inning or two, a bunch of bunts down the first base line, make them cover.
Yeah, we got to move them off the mound. You're right. Hey, you're not wrong.
Is it safe to say that pitching is North Carolina's biggest strength as a team?
I don't know. I mean, they obviously are really good on the mound, but they just kind of play the game right. They got a guy with 40-some steals. Looks like Lenny Dykstra in the outfield. I think they're just so well-rounded, and they're very confident in their ballpark, and then they played well there. So maybe if we can get ahead and put a little more pressure on them, maybe they haven't had to deal with that this year yet.
With so much travel and there's just a lot of moving pieces going on right now with your team, I wanted you to talk about the job that Director of Baseball Operations Ella Walters has done, because she's, I think, in her early 20s, and yet she is killing it at her job right now. What's her story, and what does she mean to your team?
Yeah, Ella's been fantastic. I mean, she was a student manager for us for 2 years. The story is her brother Blake was one of our top recruits, and ended up he committed to us throwing 88 miles an hour. And by senior year, he was throwing 98. So he ended up getting drafted very high with the Kansas City Royals. And so instead of Blake continuing to be a Wildcat, Ella ended up being our director of operations. So she got her degree from the Eller program. We hired her last really December, because she graduated in December. We hired her. And she's been able to handle all this stuff. She's extremely smart, obviously, but well-adjusted and done a great job for us.
Chip, so you guys practiced this morning at 8 a.m. What's the itinerary? Do you leave later today, try to give the team a day to acclimate to the East Coast, or are you leaving tomorrow?
No. We're leaving today at I think we're going to charter it at 11 a.m. So yeah, we'll get there around 6. Get the guys, be able to have some dinner there, and then get to bed, and then get up and get a lift. And I think our practice time tomorrow is around 2.
Okay. And then my colleague Michael Lev, he recently just wrote a story on Brendan Summerhill and how he has been, really focusing on the team rather than his personal success. And we all know that he's a guy that can play at the majors. He's a first-round talent, maybe not having the season that he wants to have. But what do you make of him just kind of staying mature and staying present with the team as you guys go through the season?
Yeah, I think if you want to go back and before he broke his hand, he was having the season he wanted. When he came back immediately after the injury, I think he was on pace to keep going. He just hasn't got as many hits. I talked to him about it yesterday as before, but he's still getting on base. He's still making things happen at the top of the order. And people ask all the time, you guys are getting hot. Well, the reason why we're getting hot is because he came back and he's a constant on the bases. So I know he's frustrated about the hitting, but yeah, he's kind of put it in his back pocket and just worried about the team.
So Chip, we got that my buddy and your buddy Lance Dixon chip on our shoulder, got our good mojo. What do you do as a coach to ensure that feeling doesn't dissipate between the break between the regional to the super regional?
That's the guys, and that's it's got to be organic, and I think they feel it and they like it, and it's just a good group whether they have a chip or not. They're going to fight for each other. They got that foxhole mentality right now, and that's not going to change.
So have you ever seen college baseball players hit 3 home runs in back-to-back games with what we saw with Mason White and Aaron Walton?
Yeah, I've seen guys and I've had teammates have done those things, but that's another one that, Aaron Walton had kind of cooled off too. And Mason, when Mason, Aaron, and Summerhill are going, this team is tough to beat.
Chip Hale, head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, joining us here on ESPN Tucson, Arizona, getting ready for the super regional round against the North Carolina Tar Heels. You can watch that game Friday morning at 9 a.m. on ESPN2. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Good luck at practice. And more importantly, best of luck this weekend against North Carolina.
Let's do this again next week. What do you say?
You bet.
All right.
I told the players before we left for Eugene, I go, hey, if we win this thing, you'll be one of 16 teams that get to practice next Tuesday. And then yesterday I said, hey, next week will be one of 8. So let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
Love it.
Let's do it.
Good
Chip,
luck, Coach.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Good stuff there from Chipper.
Always.
All right, let's see if the Wildcats can maintain their good mojo against North Carolina.
I just felt a chill in the air. I was feeling good. I got a little excited.
The Spears and Ollie magic, man.
Let's see. I thought we were going to just
knock off.
All
right, before we go to commercial break, just want to remind you that ESPN Tucson is giving you all a chance to win tickets to go see Tom Segura's Come Together comedy tour on Friday, November 7th, and also Saturday, November 8th at the Tucson Convention Center. All you got to do is text the word Tom to 520-719-1490 for your chance at winning a pair of tickets. Tickets are on sale now. You can get more information by going to espntucson.com. Message and data rates may apply. All right, stick around. We got more Spears and Ali coming up next. Guys.
Yes.
It's not really breaking news, but very important news.
We already knew it. You're an easy lover. Yes, we get it.
Yes.
Gosh.
The Colorado Rockies have won a series.
I know.
What?
The Colorado Rockies have finally won a series. It is their first series win of the season, and they beat the Miami Marlins yesterday 3-2. They won back-to-back games.
So
how about that?
You were crapping on them so much yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? What the heck?
What the hell?
I'm going to bet on Colorado, and I parlayed them with the White Sox. I'm like, $5
the toilet parlay
to win. I'm like, if I win this bet, like this may be the only time all year, or very rare. It won.
So you're gonna buy a new Porsche with all the winnings?
So he's retiring.
No,
are you kidding me?
I'm gonna go to Scented Leaf and get a $14 iced tea, which was delicious. Black cherry was good.
Did you get one of those brownies?
No. I saw my son. I was like, the place was packed. It was great.
Scented Leaf. Gets the people going, man.
Yeah.
They love it.
People working, like computers out, just sitting there and using the Wi-Fi. Very nice environments. Yeah, the tea was good. Now we got 2 iced teas. 2 large iced teas was $14. But
Man, you guys are living dangerously.
I know.
Well, over there off of Tanque Verde?
Off of Tanque
That
Verde,
one?
yeah.
It's a great location. Great location.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Colorado Rockies have finally won their first series of the season.
So I'm betting on them to lose today.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
At the house.
absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know this. We were talking about how bad they were the other day. I didn't realize that they have been swept more times than they have won games.
Yep.
Swept 10 times, only won 9 games. Of course, that was a few days ago. Things have changed. Now they're at 11 wins on the season.
I
How
think
about that?
I think
Scotty Scheffler.
I think they've lost more games this year than Tony Gwynn has struck out in his entire career. It's close.
That's amazing.
What's amazing about Tony Gwynn is he played basketball at San Diego State and baseball. Tony Gwynn has more assists as a basketball player at San Diego State than he struck out in the major leagues.
That's
insane. And that's the key part there. In the major leagues.
Yeah.
Tony
R.I.P.
Gwynn.
to the great Tony Gwynn.
Legend, man.
Yeah.
Absolute legend. Also in other news, before we talk more about Carter Bryant staying in the NBA draft and just kind of looking at Arizona's roster for next season, it's a good week for the McConnell family. Not only do you have TJ McConnell playing in his first NBA finals, but his sister, Megan McConnell, just signed her first WNBA contract, and she's going to be playing for the Phoenix Mercury. So McConnell is back in Arizona, and she's playing for the Phoenix Mercury. And then
MJ McConnell.
Yeah.
Where did she go to college?
That I don't know.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know where.
How do we not have TJ McConnell's sister at U of A?
Especially, I mean, she's a WNBA player, pro level. I don't know.
Clearly good enough.
Maybe
she went to Duquesne.
Pittsburgh, baby.
That's right.
Where TJ got it started.
And apparently she holds record 660 assists, 370 steals, 144 games played.
That is
4 triple doubles.
That is definitely McConnell for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, big week for the McConnell family. All right, speaking of Arizona basketball,
do you think the world is going to implode when TJ McConnell basically lines up against Caruso with Oklahoma City?
Oh man,
Alex Caruso versus TJ McConnell. Is that a story we're not talking enough about?
No, we should be talking more about it.
I feel like it's what is that Spider-Man meme?
Yeah, Spider-Man pointing at each other. That's so funny.
How's that not a topic?
We should be talking about it more. Yeah, I'm excited for these NBA finals. And speaking of the NBA, we talked about it, briefly at the top of the hour, but Carter Bryant is keeping his name in the NBA draft pool. And so he will be turning pro. Excited for Carter Bryant. Several mock drafts have him going anywhere as high as 10 all the way to number 26 overall to the Brooklyn Nets. I've seen the Houston Rockets interested in Carter Bryant. I've also seen one mock draft have him go number 14 overall to the San Antonio Spurs, which I'd be very happy about. As much as, we're Lakers guys, right? And we want to see our Lakers thrive. Carter Bryant, Victor Wembanyama, they're going to continue to build. I really like what San Antonio is doing if they were able to add a guy like Carter Bryant. But yeah, Carter could go to Houston. He can go to San Antonio, which I think would be good fits for him. Brooklyn, nothing ever seems to really happen for players whenever they go to Brooklyn. It kind of seems like they just go there and fizzle out, or they just wait for the next opportunity and they thrive at their next stop. So I don't want Carter to go to Brooklyn, but regardless, Carter Bryant will be a first-round pick. He's not going to the NBA draft if he is not a first-round pick. So it's not if, it's just a matter of when Carter Bryant gets selected in that first round.
Top 15. You can pen it in, not even pencil it. It'll be a top 15 pick.
Permanent.
No whiteout here.
No whiteout. No sticks, no stems, no seeds. Top 15.
Ooh, wee.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. But I actually listened to a podcast where they were doing an analysis on Carter. His attributes are tantalizing. His personality is off the charts as far as being a kid of high character, and NBA teams they're just in love with the kid. And so he's going to be a top 15 pick. He keeps rising up the boards. He might be top 10 and wish him nothing but the best. I think he's gonna do great. They told a great story about him when he was a junior. They would put a junior team together against like this all senior team tournament. I don't know. It was like an Adidas tournament. And usually the junior team gets their butts kicked. But Carter Bryant, I guess, led them, and like, it was like last second, like took them to the wire. And then after the game in front of all these NBA scouts, and it wasn't just for show. It was Carter Bryant putting up shots afterwards. And then when they played another game full court, he went to a side court working on dribbling drills. The kid is, I mean, we saw it at Arizona. He's dedicated to the game of basketball. And, you know, when you're going to draft a guy that high, or especially, you know, in any sport, especially in the first round, loving the sport, not loving what the sport can do for you, is a very important evaluation piece.
Absolutely.
And Carter Bryant loves basketball. And so when you got the physical attributes, when you're got that kind of character and you love the game of basketball, that's one of those projections where you're willing to take a chance.
And he will be a first-round pick. Will be the first rounder from Arizona since 2022, when Arizona produced Benedict Mathurin and Dalen Terry in that same draft. And yeah, I think Carter's going to have a great NBA career. I think all the things that you just said, and also the fact that he was an All-American, this all-world player, and was willing to come off the bench, never bitched and moaned or complained or did any of that. He came off the bench, he did his job, and he did it well. And he honored the process, stuck with it, and turned into a pretty damn good player. Of course, there's always room for improvement, right? The guy's 19 years old, but he's going to get that improvement and that development at the highest level possible in basketball, playing in the NBA. So I'm very happy for Carter Bryant. I think he's going to go on and have a great career. Now, what does this mean for the Arizona Wildcats? Let's take a look at Arizona's roster on the other side. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but you're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Radio. All right, Spears and Ali back here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, and the Spears and Ali podcast. We were just talking about Carter Bryant going to the NBA. He's keeping his name there, but Arizona is bringing back Jaden Bradley. And then they also added Ivan Karchenkov, who is Russian-born, but has spent most of his life playing in Germany, played for the German FIBA U18 club, and was pretty impressive there. And then he's been playing for Bayern Munich, which is a professional club out there. He's teammates with guys like Shabazz Napier, the other Devin Booker, who played for Clemson back in the day. And, you know, he was averaging, I think, just under 6 points coming off the bench for them. So, like, not like eye-popping numbers, but the guy's 17 years old, and he's playing against guys that are pretty much like twice his age.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of guys have played in the NBA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's been playing at the highest level. He's been playing against older competition. So I think that bodes well for Arizona. Now, what are our expectations for Ivan Karchenkov? Well, we shall see, but he's 6'7". He's a wing. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like some like past Tommy Lloyd players like Pella Larson. I think he might be a little bit longer than Pella, but yeah, I'm excited to see what this guy can bring. Draft Express and all the international pundits who follow international hoops, they look at this guy as one of the top European prospects coming in. And we talked about it yesterday. Like, I kind of pump the brakes on expectations for this guy when I hear one of the top European prospects, because, you know, we heard about that with Mo Krivas. Jury's still out on him. He could end up becoming this great player, right? Henry Vasar had those expectations too, but we didn't see those expectations we didn't see Henry Vasar live up to the hype until his third year at Arizona. So year one for Ivan, I'm not so sure about what he's going to bring, but even without Carter Bryant, I still like this roster a lot. I love the backcourt of Jaden Bradley and Braden Burries. Koa Pete is going to be one of the top freshmen in college basketball next season. And then Mo Krivas, you know, he's back after, you know, dealing with that foot injury, after sitting out and really allowing his foot to heal. Maybe this is the year that Mo Krivas really takes off. So there's a lot of wild cards going into it, but I feel very optimistic about this Arizona basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are forgetting Mo Krivas is really good.
He's a damn good player.
He's really good. He was injured last year, and you know, a couple of years in the weight room with Chris Rounds is going to do him wonders. And working hard with Chris, but Yeah, I mean, so you got the small forward, and is it, does Ivan take that over? Does Aristo take it? Do you maybe see Ado? You got Toby Awaka as a depth in the front court. I think Bryce James probably going to redshirt this year for development purpose. Yeah. Okay. We'll see. Who knows? But this team's got depth. They're the other kid, the big kid we got.
CD Gay?
Yeah, you watch video, but he's looking like one of these kids that's like a diamond in the rough.
Yeah. So
this team is well positioned for next year. And now the whole key is getting them all together. And just like every year, starting its own book, its new journey, getting these guys to coalesce, everybody learning about what their roles are, and then dedicating themselves to that role. And then, great things happen from that.
I think a lot of people are sleeping on Jaden Bradley.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think a lot of people I don't think they really understand how important it was to get that guy back. Now, Evan Nelson, Tucson kid, South Point Catholic product.
Didn't mention him. Yeah.
Great player. I think he's going to be awesome at Arizona. But to have Jaden come back, this is really the first point guard that Tommy Lloyd has had for now 3 seasons, right? Like we saw, I know Tommy Lloyd just got here, 5 years ago or whatever it was.
This is year 5.
Or 5, year 4. But he had Kirk Kriisa for a couple of years. Then it transitioned over to Kylan Boswell. And he's never really had that one point guard leading the way for several years, which is kind of cool, especially nowadays in college basketball, where you have guys entering the transfer portal after a year or two. To have Jaden Bradley back for year three in Tommy Lloyd's system with all the other pieces that he has, I think this could be a really special year for Jaden Bradley. I really do. And
Let's hope, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jaden's, and I think he's a traditional point guard, the way we used to think of point guards. He's a facilitator, but you saw as the year went on last year, he became a bigger part of the scoring punch. And when we needed a basket, both from the outside and driving the ball to the basket, like Jaden was getting it done.
Yeah.
And his outside shot was really pretty good by the end of the year. So,
and he's already got the defensive part down.
Yeah, we're good. We got talent. I mean, we're really, really good. Now's where the work comes in.
Yes, sir.
But based on, since the day Tommy Lloyd has stepped on campus, one thing that he has showed us is that he's really good at developing teams. And we usually play pretty good basketball towards the end of the year. I know there's a 1-year hiccup with Princeton, but I mean, 3 Sweet 16s?
2 Sweet 16s. Houston. No, yeah, you're right. 3.
3.
Yeah, 3.
Houston, Clemson, and Duke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in 4 years, 3 Sweet 16s. I got a good feeling we're about to take that next step.
All right. What do you guys think about Arizona basketball and the roster without Carter Bryant? What do you think about Ivan Karchenkov and all the other pieces that they've added? Let's talk Arizona basketball. Hit us up, 719-1490, 719-1490. We're still going to talk some NBA Finals and the matchup between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. Plus, we have Arizona golfer Zach Polo joining the show at 8:25 to talk about qualifying for the U.S. Open. Hour number 2 is going to be a good one. Don't miss out. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Tucson. This Hump Day episode of Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson is presented by the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, Tucson Federal Credit Union, and Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Man, thank you for unraveling your orange and peeling it, man.
Yeah.
Smells like a Jamba Juice inside this studio. Big fan of it, man. Big fan of it.
You're going to get some ethically popped popcorn or whatever they have in there, right?
Oh, ethically popped
I don't know.
popcorn.
It's like air popped or whatever.
No,
so there's
thank
no I don't know.
Just tastes like nothing.
Apparently it's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come
Pop
on.
chips or whatever.
Is that a thing?
I think so.
Good God.
Don't get popcorn at
I think
Jamba
you would have
Juice.
been all over it, Mr. Carbs.
Ethically popped popcorn?
I mean, I don't think that's what it's called. That was just a joke.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that a thing?
No, it's just like air popped or whatever.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
fine. That's
I
fine.
didn't think this would be such a red hot button issue.
Look, today is June 4th. In 2 days, it's the anniversary of D-Day. Which
interesting landmark to
D-Day. Yeah, I mean, so I've been watching Band of Brothers again on HBO,
right, sorry.
and I watch what these guys go through. At least the dramatization of it. We're so soft. Our world is so soft. I mean, what these guys did is absolutely unbelievable to secure our freedom, right? And for the, really the world in Europe. So when I hear stuff like, I mean, look, I'm all about like, hey, we can do things better. Let's do things better. I think I love the environment. I want to have a good breathable air, drinkable water. I'm all for it. But when I hear about ethically popped popcorn, it triggers me.
You are right about the world being soft nowadays.
Yeah.
We are a bunch of soft individuals. We used to fight wars, man. We used to fight wars.
Well, I'm not like advocating like we need to get back out there, and
just
jump off boats in the beach and, to machine gun fire. I'm not like advocating for that. I'm just saying it's unimaginable what was going through those guys' heads. Well, we have Friday. Friday will be the anniversary. I'm just a big World War II buff, and really it's World War I and World War II is the same war. Just there was a timeout. It's all started with the Treaty of Versailles. There's your history lesson of the day. But let me just say that, and when Prince Ferdinand was shot. But what I think is, I just watched that, and I just it gives you perspective, right? It was a different time, a different world in a lot of ways, but it's just like the fortitude and the mental toughness it would take to be in that position
absolutely
is unimaginable.
I'm a big Punic Wars guy.
Yeah.
Punic Wars?
Yeah, the Punic Wars.
They fought over tunics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that you're not wrong.
Yeah.
No, what I was saying was we got too many TikTokers and podcasters in the world. Looks around the studio.
Yeah.
We need more construction workers. We need more guys like that.
Quick, let me make a TikTok about it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
gym TikTok guy is my least favorite. Like the people that are in the gym and they talk about what I'm just doing it for my community. Build your own community. It's like, dude, lift. Go lift.
Just lift.
Just lift.
Lift, man.
I did have this question for you. Michael Lev kind of, put the banana peel on the road for me, because I guess you and him were talking yesterday about the person that puts 2 bags in the overhead.
Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't really bother me. But I wanted to ask you guys last week, and if you guys have any comments on, you want to call in 719-1490. If you sit in economy, what is tilting your seat back etiquette? And I'll tell you what my rule is. Number 1, how long is the flight? Number 2, I always look behind me.
Yeah.
Right. If it's like a kid, no problem. If they're like your height, Justin, no problem. You have plenty of space. But then, the person in front of me will put theirs down and be like, I still don't put mine back. But I don't know if I'm right. I mean, you bought the seat tilts back. That's the way the plane is constructed. If you don't like the way it is, fly another airline or get a higher class ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen all these videos on like X of like people getting really mad and like getting in fights over somebody putting their seat back and the person behind them kicking it forward. So angry. I was wondering your guys' opinion on it. What's the etiquette on a plane if you're not sitting in business or first class of tilting your seat back?
I was gonna say, you flying economy kind of blows my mind a little bit there.
Yeah, you're a Delta first class guy.
Yeah, but
yeah, no
I've done it. I mean,
you always have to gauge the situation. You always have to look back, and like you said, if it's a little kid, whatever. If it's a person who is asleep, like if this I always wait until I get up in the air first, get settled in, and then I want to put my seat back. Let me look back at the other person. If it's a grown ass adult and that adult has their headphones on and they're asleep, yeah, I'm going to put that seat back because I'm not bothering that person. So you always have to gauge the situation. Now, if you're just like straight up, I'm putting my seat back and not looking back at the person or asking them if you could do that, then you're just an inconsiderate jerk.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. But you guys really, it rubs your rhubarb even harder if they bring 2 bags in the overhead, huh? You and Lev.
Yeah, if it's a packed flight.
Yeah.
And especially if you have a backpack or a smaller bag that could fit under the seat. Whenever I'm on the road traveling for football season, I always have 2 bags with me. I have my little small suitcase with all my clothes and toiletries and all that, and then I've got my backpack with all my work stuff. The suitcase goes in the overhead, the backpack goes underneath the seat.
I know, but your feet don't even reach that far, so it's easier for you. The worst part for Lev, I was like, oh, and the guy smelled. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
body odor.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I know.
I actually think of all of that, the thing that's maybe most baffling to me is I like, like when the plane lands and stuff, I stand up because
Oh
I've
my
been
God, I
sitting,
know
right?
exactly what you're about to say.
But guy that thinks he's going to beat everybody to the front of the plane to get out of the plane, come on.
Yeah. And sometimes you have
People rush to wait in this country at an abnormally huge rate. It's like, I need to get there as fast as I can so I can wait.
But you wait first.
I'm just like, well, it's all going to be the same. It's all that, like, what, even like driving. It's like, oh, you had to go cut me off. We're at the same light. I mean, what you could have just waited after me. Does it like, did you gain anything?
Yeah.
Like, what did you gain?
I cut off a Porsche Taycan.
I'm a very considerate driver.
Me too. I am considerate. Now, other people drive like morons.
Considerate to the point of judgment. Yeah. Anyway,
listen, if you're at a light and you're the first one there, you're at the very front, you have an obligation to pay attention to that light.
Yeah, get off your phone.
If you're on your phone and you're holding me up, yeah, you might get some words out of me.
Well, you're a safety hazard too.
Yes.
Don't be on your phone.
I thought you meant Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys clap when planes land?
No.
That's so weird.
Do people clap?
Yeah, you've never seen that?
Not that I recall.
Really?
No.
It seems like every flight I'm on, they applaud when we land, and I'm like, this is Tuesday, guys.
Yeah, this is another day for this pilot.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're
I thank him
about.
when I get out. I'm like, thanks for the trip.
Well, with maybe I need to change my tune with what I'm reading about air traffic control these days. Maybe you need to clap.
Oh my God! Sorry. All right, we made it.
I just wanted to ask you guys about the whole seat back etiquette. I've got my own rules, and I think that I tend to be on the considerate side, and it squeezes you. I mean, I get squeezed. Like I don't get pissed off or anything. I just kind of readjust myself because I'm a big guy. But man, it's people get really upset.
Mm-hmm. And another, I guess, airplane etiquette thing that I follow is, if I get food in the airport, I make sure it's not like smelly food. Like I've I've sat near people that like full on brought seafood on the plane.
No.
Yeah. They like a crab boil bringing it on the plane. Now, as much as I love Popeyes, I don't want to be smelling Popeyes while I'm sitting next to you. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. To me,
because you didn't have Popeyes.
Yeah. That's partially the reason why.
Yeah.
But also I just feel like the less smelly you are with food and body odor and all that, the better it is for everybody on the plane.
Well, who's smelling good these days is Arizona baseball, man. Excited for Friday.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for the Wildcats road trip to North Carolina for the Super Regional. Bless you, Andrew.
Thank you.
And I think Arizona right now, I mean, we had Chip Hale in the last hour talking about it. They're playing their best baseball right now, and they're catching fire at the right time. And not only are the bats hot, I mean, Aaron Walton, 3 home runs in the regional against Cal Poly. And then you also had Mason White doing it the game before against Utah Valley. But then you have Smith Bailey, who's stepping up as a freshman right now. Owen Kremkowski, who really struggled at the start of the season. He has matured and has developed into a really good ace pitcher for the Arizona Wildcats. And then Tony Pluta, who is the best closer, in my opinion, in college baseball right now. So, I mean, you look at all the pieces, and I think this Arizona baseball team, they are destined to go to the College World Series. Knock on wood here, because they still got to play a really tough North Carolina team, and they have a pitcher named Jake Knapp, and Knapp is 6'5", 270 pounds, but he's got a 1.98 ERA. He's 13-0 on the season, and he just doesn't give up many runs. And that's the thing that's going to be so interesting about this matchup here, is because
they need to make that big Haas move. Get him off the mound. Make him cover first base a bunch.
This is going to be the matchup between Arizona's big bats and North Carolina's arms. North Carolina has maybe the best pitching rotation in all of college baseball.
Really?
Jake Knapp is the ACC pitcher of the year. They have some other guys that are pretty damn good too. They don't give up many runs. So will the bats come alive for Arizona? We shall see. But I think Arizona overall, their balance, it bodes well for the Wildcats in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, and I think our pitchers got to pitch the way they did. They got to keep the. I think that first game Friday is important. It's going to be really important.
Set the tone,
and then you need 1 out of 2 to win, right? And I actually think for this team to prevail, I think it's better we're on the road. As great as High Corbett is, and as great as fans we have supporting Arizona baseball, there's something about this team that is just kind of us against the world. And we talked to Chip about it, where I think they're going to, I don't know. It's almost like they perform better the greater the adversity.
They like to leave destruction in their wake.
Yeah. Like Conan, the barbarian said, right? Crush your enemy, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women. We want to hear a lot of Southern drawl crying in North Carolina, right?
That's an evergreen statement.
Yeah. But it's going to be, it's going to be, I feel just like this team, man. Win, lose, draw, whatever. Chip Hill's done a great job. Arizona baseball's done a great job this year, and winning the Pac-12 and the Pac-12 tournament last year, and then the year after winning the Big 12 tournament, and now getting to the super regional. Winning national championships is hard. This team, successful year. We hope for more. We root this team on, but Chip Hale, his coaching staff, and the players, great job.
Absolutely, man. All right, we'll talk more Arizona baseball throughout the week. Real quick, Ollie, we were talking about the NBA Finals, and the Pacers, OKC, we're super excited about this matchup. But the big news coming out of the NBA yesterday was the New York Knicks firing head coach Tom Thibodeau. I'm conflicted about this because Tom Thibodeau did take the New York Knicks to their deepest playoff run in 25 years. He surpassed Pat Riley earlier in the year as I think the fourth most wins with the franchise. He led the New York Knicks to back-to-back 50-win seasons for the first time since 1995. I mean, he's been a great head coach. Now, there were, some issues in the series against Indiana, and really all throughout the year. Like, he was trying to figure out that two big man lineup with Cat and Mitchell Robinson and some of the other guys that they have, and can never really figure it out. I don't know.
Well, Mitchell Robinson wasn't healthy until 17 games were left in the season.
That's true.
So he didn't really have him
to
figure anything out.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, the bigs were kind of exposed in the series against Indiana. And I know Indiana, they got some good bigs too, and Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner. But
I mean, it's Cat. He's the same guy that we saw in Minnesota.
He got Tom Thibodeau fired twice.
Yeah.
In Minnesota and now New York. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But
I think there's a story in The Athletic that came out right after they lost Game 6, and it's not very positive about Tom Thibodeau or Cat. It's kind of behind the scenes. I haven't read it. But
I mean, if it's me, if I'm the owner of the New York Knicks and it's either Cat or Tibbs, I'm siding with Tibbs, man. Cat, you can get the hell out of here. Trade your ass somewhere else. We'll get somebody else in here. You play garbage defense in the playoffs.
Look, he makes $49 million next year. Then it goes to $54 million the year after, and then he makes $60 million the year after that. Trade him for what? Who's trade? I mean, Cat's a good offensive player. He has his limitations defensively, but I mean, look, this is obviously Leon Rose and Worldwide West who run that team. Yep. They basically thought Thibodeau took us to this level. And just like, and I heard this from Bill Simmons yesterday, just like when
they've hit their ceiling, the
Detroit Pistons in 2003 fired Rick Carlisle, who were good with them, and then hired Larry Brown. They won a championship. And just like, Mark Jackson coaching the Warriors got him to a certain level, and they're like, we need to get to the next level, bring in Steve Kerr. They're thinking that. And I don't know how much of this was player originated or if that's just the thought process. And two names that I'm hearing on the street that are kind of interesting is Rick Pitino.
Whoa. Wasn't expecting that.
And Jay Wright, the former Villanova coach.
Coaching all the Villanova Wildcats currently with New York.
Those are the two names. I mean,
Not Mike
if
Malone.
if they Mike Malone, I mean, I guess is he going to get to? He's got to be able to get along with Worldwide West and Leon Rose because he didn't get along with the general manager of Denver.
Yeah.
So Thibodeau's he's a really great coach. Lives, breathes, eats basketball, but he's got a style that is not for everybody. And you
Just
really
wearing down his players and playing 40 minutes a night.
well, I mean, do you have anybody on the bench? And then he was playing like Shamet against the Pacers. He was playing DeLon Wright against the Pacers, but he didn't do that during the season. So he's putting him in a situation where he's doing something different in the playoffs that he didn't do in the season.
Not the time.
That is a fair criticism. But Tom Thibodeau is a great coach, and it would be very Knicksy if they just did it and didn't have a plan. But I'm guessing those guys they have their guy. They know who they want.
Johnny O'Brien, former assistant with the Bulls, who coached with Tom Thibodeau. He's a rumored candidate to be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns. Look for him to be the head coach and maybe Tom Thibodeau joining his staff. I think that'll be something worth watching. All right.
Interesting.
Coming up next on Spears and Ali, Arizona golfer Zach Polo. He has qualified for the U.S. Open. He is the first Wildcat under head coach Jim Anderson to qualify for the U.S. Open. He joins us next. Stay tuned. Spears and Ali here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, and the Spears and Ali podcast. Arizona junior golfer Zach Polo has qualified for the U.S. Open at Oakmont in Pennsylvania. Should be a fun time there. And Zach made history. He is the first Arizona Wildcat under head coach Jim Anderson to qualify for the U.S. Open. And he's just a junior. He's coming back next season, so he's setting himself up for a nice senior campaign at the U of A. And Zach joins us here on ESPN Tucson. Zach, good morning. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Great. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on qualifying for the U.S. Open. Now that it's been a couple of days, has it settled in yet that you're about to play in a very premier golf tournament?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited for the chance. It's something that doesn't happen very often, I feel like, at this age. So I think it's a great opportunity for me to represent the U of A and to just go have a good time and enjoy the experience.
And the U.S. Open qualifiers, or the one on Monday, it's known as the longest day in golf. Every player, plays 36 holes. What was that experience like for you at Valencia Country Club, just going through that qualifying round?
Yeah, I mean, it is a long day for sure, but I think to my advantage, we've played a handful of those sort of days in college. This past year, we played, I think, 5 or 6 36-hole days. So I think that sort of preparation really helped guide me to have a good day a couple of days ago, because, it takes a toll on you, and just having done it in the past, I think made it a little bit easier.
And you're at Valencia Country Club. When did it really settle in for you that you had a chance at really qualifying for the U.S. Open?
Yeah, I finished that first round really strong. It wasn't going super anything special to start the round, and then all of a sudden I rolled off a few birdies and got an eagle in there. So all of a sudden I was up to 6 under par, and I finished the round. And so between rounds, I would check the leaderboard, and I saw that I was a couple ahead. So that's when I realized just one good round, and you're going to be playing in the U.S. Open.
Zach, the U.S. Open this year, as you know, is going to be played at Oakmont Country Club in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm a Steelers fan, so go Pittsburgh. I was wondering, they've got all of these simulators now, and people play, you can play Pebble Beach to Oakmont. Do you actually use the simulator to try to get a feel for the course itself before you fly out there?
That's not something I've done, no, but I know there's places around here where I could do that if I would like to. So
yeah, might be worth looking into.
Yeah. Okay, Zach, I'm going to ask you another question. This one's actually stupid, but a golfer of your stature and how good you are, on hacks like me and Justin, we get in our social media feeds, all of these like little golf lessons. And I always wonder, am I just doing myself harm by watching them and trying to emulate what they're trying to teach me? Should I ignore them or should I actually watch them? And do you guys who play for U of A golf, I mean, you must get those on your phone on the social media feeds. Do you guys actually like listen or watch whatever the lesson is?
I mean, I guess it kind of just depends. I mean, I guess it just depends on if the person has any sort of like history of coaching or something like that. If it's just a random person, I'd probably ignore it maybe. But if you can maybe check the account and see if it's got some like credible history. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So Phil Mickelson on the short game, probably a good one to listen to. Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
We're talking with Arizona junior golfer Zach Pueblo here on ESPN Tucson. We're talking about Zach qualifying for the U.S. Open at Oakwalk Country Club. Let's get to know you a little bit, Zach. I believe you're from the Sacramento area. Were you born there? And tell us about your upbringing and your childhood.
Yeah, I was born in Sacramento, and I grew up in Rockland, just outside of Sacramento. So got into golf. I'd say my grandpa got me into it when I was like 7 years old or so. He'd take me to the range, and then I think he just kind of noticed that I really enjoyed it, really loved it. And so we started playing the course, and then it kind of just took off from there. Started playing some junior tournaments, and then, started doing well in those. And yeah, it just kind of took off.
What made you fall in love with the game? Because, sometimes, kids, when they're introduced to a sport that young, they may try it, but then they put it down and they go find something else. What was it about golf that made you fall in love with it?
I don't even know. It just clicked for me. I mean, when I was young, I'd go hit balls over and over and over again, and it just wouldn't get old. So I guess that's where it came from.
And then obviously you watch golf. Was there one particular golfer that you looked up to?
In today's game, obviously the easy answer is Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Because of the way he plays, but the way he handles himself on the golf course. I think he's very calm and very he gets himself around the golf course very good mentally. So.
And a great comeback story too. After getting
stop it.
I know.
Just the stupidest joke ever.
I'm milking that joke.
Zach, I'm actually glad you brought up Scotty Scheffler and his mentality because, for like a football guy like me, you've got a team, and if I have a bad play, the other 10 guys can maybe make up for it. But golf is such an individual sport. What is your process mentally when you get out on the golf course to make sure that you're kind of staying on that even keel?
Yeah, I think it's very cliche. You hear it a lot, but I mean, it really is the best way to handle it, which would be you really have to take it as one shot at a time as you possibly can, because especially when you're in contention like that, one bad shot's not going to take you out of contention. It's if you keep stacking bad shots because you're not in the right frame of mind, I think that's what would take you out of it. So just knowing that when you're in contention, every shot's very vital to, it doesn't matter what the past shot was. So just focusing on what's ahead.
And do you, when you're either playing an individual for Arizona or you're trying to qualify for the U.S. Open, are you looking at that scoreboard from beginning to end, or do you just try to focus one shot of it at a time and then at a certain point check where you are?
Yeah, I think I try not to check like super often, but I do like to know where I'm sitting every so often. So I checked in between the first and second rounds. I think I checked after 9 holes in the second round, and then I think I checked with a couple holes left. So, I mean, I don't check super often, but I think it does help me knowing where I do sit every now and then.
For you, how does it feel to be in that top 1% of guys who competed for a spot or for a chance to be in the U.S. Open? I mean, we're talking about well over 10,000 players at the local qualifying rounds. And for you to be one of 10 amateurs to get into that U.S. Open, how do you just kind of weigh the history that you made?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, it's not something you expect to have happen, but it's something you dream of when you're a kid. So I'm just going to take it more so just to go enjoy the experience. And obviously I really want to play well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do everything I can so I do play well. But overall, just being there in general is just going to be a really, really great thing to experience.
Going back to growing up in Sacramento, were you a Kings fan growing up?
Yeah, still am.
Oh,
Still,
man.
yeah.
Sorry about Tyrese Halliburton, man.
Yeah.
Hey, what is it? Light the lamp or light the what's the
Light the beam.
Light the beam.
Yeah, purple beam, baby.
Yeah, we're lighting the beam for you, Zach, at Oakmont. Any superstitions either before you start a round or during when you're playing around?
No, I don't. I really don't have many superstitions. I just try to put a good round together, I guess.
What do you think is the biggest strength in your game as you get ready for Oakmont? And do you feel like your skill set is going to do well at a place like Oakmont?
I would say usually ball striking is what I can usually rely on the most from week to week. And then typically if I get the putter going, it's going to be a really good week. So, you know I have the ball striking. I know I have the game tee to green, and I know the greens are going to be probably firm and fast, and the rough's going to be thick. So keeping the ball in play and on the fairways and having irons in from the fairway is going to be really important. And, you know, 2 putts go in, I know it could be a good week for sure.
Well, we had head coach Jim Anderson on the show earlier in the week, and he was talking about, you know, you were a streaky putter that, you know, when you were on, you were cooking, but sometimes when it was off a little bit, it kind of, you know, went off the tracks. How did you, I guess, become more leveled out and even keeled as a putter?
Yeah, that's the thing I've been working on, I'd say, for a while. That's the area of my game I always really focus on, try to improve. And just, yeah, like you said, it gets streaky. It still gets streaky, but just keeping it more consistent. I think I've done a decent job at helping it be more consistent than it used to be. But I do know there's still work to do, and you know it's a process. It's not gonna happen overnight. And you know, I think there's been improvements for sure, and I think we're gonna keep trying to improve. And yeah, just that consistency is kind of what I'm looking for.
How many of your family members or your teammates at Arizona have offered to be your caddy so they could go out there with you?
Quite a bit, actually. It's funny you ask that. A lot of people did text me that. So I think I'm going to have my swing coach caddy. So
okay,
perfect.
It'll be really fun to have him there with me, because he's been there alongside ever since I've been going to him ever since I was, I think, 13 or 14. So
that's gonna be awesome.
I asked you that question because if there was 100 people that have texted you or called you and asked you to be their caddy, Justin Spears was about to be 101, and I wanted to cut it off at the knees.
Yeah,
I'm down to caddy, man. I'm really down to caddy. All right. Well, speaking of the U.S. Open, which 2 players do you hope to be paired up with in the first round?
I haven't really thought a whole lot about that, but I mean, anyone is fine with me, honestly. Like, if it's, yeah, I don't know how to answer that really. Like, I think playing with any of those top guys would be really, really cool. So,
oh yeah, bring on Scotty Scheffler, baby.
Yeah.
He hasn't seen Zach Polo yet.
Yeah.
That is Arizona junior golfer Zach Polo joining Spears and Ali here on ESPN Tucson. Zach just qualified for the U.S. Open. He's going to be competing at Oakmont Country Club. Zach, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you for joining the show, and best of luck at the U.S. Open, my man. Go get him.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Zach.
Take care, Zach.
Good stuff there from Zach.
Unflappable.
He is.
He's got the perfect golf mentality.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? The memory of a goldfish.
Oh, Ted Lasso?
Forget. Yeah. Whatever just happened, forget about it.
Yeah.
Next.
Memory of a goldfish.
Remember?
Still need to watch Ted Lasso. All right. Stick around. We got more Spears and Ali on the other side. The Tucson Saguaros are celebrating 10 years of playing in the Pecos League and also playing in the old Pueblo. And here joining us to talk about the Saguaros is founder and also Pecos League Commissioner Andrew Dunn, who joins us here on ESPN Radio. What's going on, Andrew? How's it going?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing? Glad to be with you.
No, great or thank you for joining us today. And we're very thankful to watch the Tucson Saguaros finally back at Keno Stadium. They're having their home opener tomorrow night. So tell us about the inception of the Pecos League. Tell us about the history of the Pecos League and why the Tucson Saguaros fits in perfectly with the league.
Pecos League was originally an I-25 league, Denver to El Paso, and it's since moved to California. And Tucson bridges the gap of California and I-25. So it's in the middle. Although it's isolated, it's hard to get to. When teams go there, they really enjoy being there, So they really do.
And then you brought in the Tucson Saguaros in 2016. How would you summarize the last decade of the Tucson Saguaros being here in the old Pueblo?
I think it's, like any other baseball team that's been there, you're going to have your challenges in Tucson, as far as facilities. Everybody wants to play in High Corbett. The University of Arizona will never allow that to happen after 2017. They have full control of it. So that's what gets brought up to us every day is, High Corbett, High Corbett, High Corbett. The minute they got control, they'll make sure nobody ever plays in there. And they've made that clear. So then your Keno, which is a world-class stadium, in our opinion, just did the World Baseball Classic and couldn't be better. And people love the facility, once they're down there. But, a lot of people from the north and east side of town, but tell them they got to drive, right?
Yep.
So, but as far as the on-field play, it's the only independent league in Arizona. We've had a great product all 10 years. We've got great players, and people love coming to the games. I know that Tucson is constantly trying to bring more baseball. And our league has 4 Mexican minor league teams in the league. I know Tucson's goal is to get this winter team and to see where it goes from there. But right now, we're your team, and we're glad to be there.
Talk about the dichotomy of being the commissioner while also running the Saguaros and the team. How do you balance those two things? Because, you want to be focused on your team and its success, but at the same time, you're looking out for the overall success of the entire league.
Well, if you're only at this level, as you guys have seen with the old Toros and things, if you don't have a league to play in, then you don't have a team. So you have to have stability in your league before you go past, on worrying about other things, right? So I think having a consistent schedule Thursday through Saturday is huge. And without being the commissioner of the league, I could assure you that wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to bring teams over to Tucson to play Monday, Tuesday night and have low attendance. You want to have as best of attendance as you can. And a lot of people see their families play in Tucson, it has the airport and everything. So that's that. But as far as the balance, I think we've been pretty consistent over the last 10 years with scheduling and everything. You don't control who wins or loses and stuff like that. So other than that, I think get more people out to Saguaros games. It's a beautiful place, and it's what's going on in Tucson right now. That's kind of the goal.
Tell me about the composition of the team. I mean, the players on the Saguaros, for people who don't know, are these still guys that are still trying to fulfill their dream? Guys that know that their dream is gone, but they just love the game, or kind of a combination of both?
Our roster rules consist of, you can have 9 veterans, which is a player that's over the age of 25 or has over 165 at-bats, 50 innings. Those are the guys that have played and they want to play. Then you have 16 rookies, which are typically guys right out of American colleges, And the manager constructs the team. The one thing that we need help with this year and past years is host families. So these guys that come from all over, once they get to Tucson, which they're not there yet, they move into host families. And that host family, houses them for the summer and that sort of thing. So that's how that works. But the roster in our league, we do have 16 rookies, and that ensures that we don't just have the same guys. You got to move on,
Yeah. These host families, the same families stepping up year after year, or are you guys finding new families every single season?
We see the same ones every year, but this year our host family coordinator actually moved to Indiana, so we're about 3 host families short. So we're really close, but we're short.
Okay.
By about 3.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, it's the same people.
And what are like the, I guess, prerequisites to be a host family? You have to have like a certain size house, or is it just anybody who can do it?
Well, you just really need to give that player their own room, and then it's almost like in junior hockey when they stay in billet families.
Okay.
But they're only there 2 weeks.
Okay. And how cool?
I mean, 2 months. 2 total weeks, but 2 months.
And
they're on the road half the time,
Yeah. From your perspective, how cool is that to see those players mingle with the people of Tucson? Because some of these guys are coming from out of state. They're out of towners. So to see them settle in with a Tucson family, how cool is that from your perspective?
They love it. I mean, people have loved being there. We've had a lot of good. Relationships with things, and I think that it's been great.
And the Tucson Saguaros have had a lot of success in the last 10 years. What would you say was that the one defining moment for the Tucson Saguaros, and how can they recapture that?
I think it's been great because Arizona's such a baseball place, and being in Tucson in that stadium is incredible. Players want to play there, and then good players. And I mean, we're the best of what independent baseball is. And I think a lot of the diehard people that are into baseball in Tucson, if you go to the World Baseball Classic, like you had Columbia and all them, right? I don't know if y'all watched that or whatever. Our games will be as good or better than those. But, outside of the number 1 pitcher for Colombia and Brazil, the baseball is good. But it's not minor or major league baseball, and that sometimes has a real stigmatism in the Tucson sports market.
And lastly, for us, with the Mexican Pacific Winter League having a team here, how does that affect what you guys are doing?
Well, we're partners with 4 Mexican teams that are not. So, I mean, in theory, we have our own Mexican. We don't have a team, but we host the summer. We host 4. We host Pueblo. We host Charros. We host Bravos. Their players are in our league in Tijuana. So they're going to put a team in our league in the summer, a full team the following year under our jurisdictions, and it's not going to be in Tucson. So I think bringing Mexican baseball to American soil is something we did very successfully in the Charros Bravos game in Bakersfield in April. And that's just a totally different movement, not connected to us, but getting a winter team will be great. I think the winter will work for them. There's also talk of them bringing a summer team from the Liga Mexicana next year. I have no idea how that's going to work, but it is being discussed.
Excellent.
So definitely a lot of uncertainty with what's going to happen, but they just the diehard people in Tucson. I think the problem with us, we only play 18 home games, and we don't do spring training there. It's a spring training staple, and 18 home games. That's just not what they're used to.
Yes, sir. That is Andrew Dunn.
But other than that, we're glad to be there. We're going to be there as long as we're welcome, and that's that. That's all we can do.
That is Andrew Dunn. He is the Pecos League commissioner, also owner of the Tucson Saguaros. They have their home opener tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Keno Stadium. Get your tickets today and go support the Tucson Saguaros. Great gear, too. You could buy some hats and buy some merchandise. It's some good stuff there. Andrew, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for joining us today, man.
Two last things. Our website is Saguaros Baseball, and like you said, our merchandise is the 64th most popular team in all of minor league baseball, major or minor. It's in the top 100. That's how cool it is.
It is a cool
There
logo.
you go.
It's a great logo, man.
Yeah.
Great color scheme, too. Hey, Andrew, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you. All right, stick around. We got more Spears and Ali coming up next. But every Wednesday, we do what's called Weird Sports Wednesday, and we're wrapping it up with Andrew. The floor is yours. What's on the docket for Weird Sports Wednesday?
Well, outside of touch football that instantly becomes tackle football, what is the most, I guess, synonymous with family get-together backyard game you guys can think of?
Cornhole?
That's a really good
Thanksgiving turkey bowl.
That outside of the football, though.
Outside.
Oh,
I shouldn't have asked Ali an outside of football.
pick up basketball. Okay.
This is going to take a totally different direction then.
Ping pong.
The answer is Wiffleball.
Oh,
Wiffleball. Okay.
Have you guys heard of the American Wiffleball Association?
No.
I have.
Have you actually?
Yeah.
And
the pitching is crazy.
Yeah, I discovered it a couple summers ago when I was looking for the Little League World Series stream on Hulu, and I found the AWA Wiffleball World Series, and it is an entire league. There's 8 teams. The Central Cyclones, the Northern Nighthawks, Atlantic Aces, Pacific Pilots, Southern Stingers, Eastern Enforcers, Metropolitan Mojo, and was that 8? That wasn't 8. Where's the last one? Oh, the Western Wolf Pack.
Okay.
5 players each team. And yeah, it's a professional wiffle ball. All the games get played in Washington, where the league is based.
Okay, I was going to ask you if there was like an Arizona team.
I mean, they represent different regions, and I think maybe the players come from those regions. But no, there's no traveling, I guess, in this league.
Wiffle ball.
Yeah, and like the pitchers, like they'll, fake a pitch and then throw it over behind their back, or do a cartwheel and then throw a pitch just to keep the batter off balance. And I knew about this before the Savannah Bananas. Like, it's crazy.
Savannah Bananas are great, by the way.
Yeah.
They're broadcasting games certain Saturdays on ESPN too. So look
Savannah
out
Bananas.
They're selling out football stadiums now.
They sold out Angel Stadium.
Yeah, they sold out the Titan Stadium too.
Man, they sold out Angel Stadium.
Yeah,
the Angels can't even do that.
That's why people were talking about
it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember was the last time the Angels sold out a baseball game. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, the American Wiffle Ball Association, they broadcast games Mondays and Wednesdays on YouTube. Today's games start at 5:30.
Impressive.
I think the last time they sold out the stadium, a guy named Donnie Moore was the relief pitcher, RIP, and Wally Joyner was at first base. If you're a real baseball nerd, you know what I'm talking about.
Was Mike Trout even born?
No.